celebration. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time? And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time? Who can say why your heart sighs as your love flies, only time? And who can say why your heart cries when your love lies, only Who can say when the roads meet that love might be in your heart? And who can say when the day sleeps if
The Lord be with you.
and also with you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandment and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my own joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. This is my commandment: love one another as I have loved you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated and listen to the homily.
Mark, Darrell, and Maria Fatima, I would just like you to understand better why is it that you are being married in the church. Some are contented to be married in the civil authority, but the others do not really consider marriage as a real marriage if it is not in the church. And that should be the case for us Catholics. Do you know that in marriage, you make a solemn oath, not only to each other, but a solemn oath before God and the people of God, the church, that you will love each other until the end of your life. Mark and Fatima, what is the kind of love that you should show to one another? What kind of love? It cannot be just human love, because human love is full of weaknesses and shortcomings. If you rely on human love, and that's the reason why you are being married in the church, When you rely in human love, you may think that it has an expiration and that when you are not comfortable to one another, especially when life becomes difficult for both of you, when there are already many differences when you are living together, human love dictates that you can separate, live your own lives, and have peace. Because that is the better solution to the problems that you are encountering in married life. That is not the solemn oath before God and the church. That is not the kind of love that you should have. The kind of love that you should have is the kind of love that Jesus has shown to us. He offered His life. He died on the cross so that you may have life, so that man may have life. All of us will have life. Mark, Darrell, from now on, you are not living for yourselves. Also for you, Fatima. In a real love, in the kind of love that Jesus has for us, in that kind of love that you should live in marriage, the first concern that you have is your spouse and your future children. And that as Jesus has laid down His life on the cross, Mark and Fatima, you are always willing to give your life to one another, continuously until the end of your life. And there are different ways by which you can show you die to yourself, you die to your own interests, you die sometimes to your own dreams because you have to consider always your wife and children. That's the kind of love that you should have for one another. Remember, for the rest of your life, the first word is fidelity. From now on, Mark, there is no other woman in your life. From now on, Fatima, there is no other man in your life except your spouse. And when the time comes, may I call the attention of the parents. And you should be understanding about this. If there will be a conflict between you and the spouse, expect that your son and your daughter will side on their husband, on her husband, on his wife. And that you should understand. Because now, they will be joined together in one life. Isn't it that in the Bible, it is staying on in the relationship even if you will encounter many difficulties and hardships. Fidelity means your yes is until the end of your life. That's why the second word that you should remember is patience. In the definition of St. Paul in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, patience means endurance in long suffering. That's why I'm asking you now, Mark and Fatima, do you think you already have the maturity in life? Do you think that you are strong enough to handle all situations in life? Do you think that you are already capable of understanding many difficult things in life? If your answer is yes, then I can say you are already prepared. And the virtue that you should develop is patience. Patience means endurance in long suffering. Patience means understanding what is difficult to understand about your husband, your wife, your children, the situation in the family. That's the meaning of patience. Bearing on your shoulders everything. Even the difficult attitude that will come in your relationship as husband and wife. May I remind you that in marriage, there is the period of the romantic period. And that is the nice feeling that you had when you were still boyfriend and girlfriend. And the ecstatic feeling that you have now during the day of your marriage. But I'll tell you, Mark and Fatima, it will not be there for a long time. And it will not always be there in your marriage when you live together. Because marriage does not mean the good feeling. Marriage does not mean the romantic feeling. It is part of marriage, but it is not marriage because marriage is act of the will. You have to decide to stay on in the relationship and try to understand. That's why the virtue that you have to develop is patience. If you cannot be patient, don't enter into marriage. Because you will just end up with a broken relationship and broken marriage. The third important word that I want you to remember is friendship. Mark and Fatima, life as a couple is not only obligation and burdens in life, but mark my word, it will always be there from now until the end of your life. Those obligations will always have to accompany you now. Mark and Fatima, things will be different after your yes to one another. After the party, after the nice celebration in the restaurant or wherever, in a hotel, things will be different from now on. And you will come to be in touch with reality. The third important word is friendship, because life is not only obligation. When you are already living together, you have to exert effort in order to nurture your friendship. You may still have your best friend, but from now on, you have your intimate friend, and that is your spouse, ang asawa mo. He is your priority. She is your priority. If I may not be so strong against the parents, your priority now is your wife. Your priority is your husband. Even your priority over your parents. And may I say this, in the future, even your priority over your children. Because when you start your life, there is the two of you. Dalawa kayong nagsimula, dalawa rin kayong magtatapos. Expect that. And therefore, the goal of your marriage is not to have a house, a nice car, and lots of money to send your children to education. And therefore, they are just secondary. Do not sacrifice your relationships, your love for one another, over the desire to have more money. There are people who have everything that money can buy, and they are not happy.